Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. We are back with another vintage recipe. I am loving these. I hope y'all are loving this so far. This week we're gonna do a 1948 recipe for Hunt's meatloaf. I was so surprised at how few ingredients there are in this recipe, but how flavorful it actually is. And my kids sometimes will be a little picky when it comes to meatloaf. They cleared their plates. If that tells you anything, you know, if a kid clears their plate, you've done good. So let's go ahead and get into this, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we did. Let's go ahead and get started on making this meatloaf. I have a small casserole dish with 1 pound of ground beef. I'm just gonna mix it all right here. That way we dirty up less dishes. I did not have any fresh onion, so I have a tablespoon of dried minced onion, 1 cup of fresh breadcrumbs from some old bread that needed to be used up. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I have a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. I'm only gonna add in half of this to the meat mixture. Now it's time to get in there and give this a good mix. I always start out trying to do it with a spoon or a spatula, but it never fails. I always go in there with my hands and it just works better for me. Do it however you want to, but make sure you get everything all nice and combined. And then you want to shape it into a little loaf. Now we're going to go ahead and put it in the oven. I've preheated it to 350 degrees. I'm going to pop it in there uncovered and let it bake for a good 30 minutes. While it's baking, we're going to go ahead and make the sauce that goes on top. It is just half a cup of water and then the other half of the can of tomato sauce. If you don't have the large can, you're going to end up needing 2 small cans for this recipe. 1 for the meatloaf and 1 for the sauce. Go ahead and give this a good mix and then set it to the side. After 30 minutes, pull your meatloaf back out, and then you want to drizzle that sauce all over the top. I ended up not using all of it. I still had about 1/4 of the sauce left, so it just depends on how tomatoey you like yours. Throw it back in the oven and let it bake another 45 minutes until it is done and there's no pink in the middle. While the meatloaf's finishing up in the oven, I went ahead and started on the sides. We are having mashed potatoes to go with this. I had some potatoes that needed to be used, so this is going to look like a lot of mashed potatoes, but I will use it in another recipe. But anyway, I just went ahead and boiled them, drained them, and now I'm going to add probably about 1/2 stick of butter and about 1/4 to 1/3 cup of cream, and I'll add more as I need it. And I also like to go ahead and salt and pepper my mashed potatoes. I start out with a little bit and then just adjust it as it goes on. If you don't like to salt and pepper yours before you serve them, you totally don't have to. Go ahead and give this a good mash. If you see that you need more liquid, add more liquid. If you like them thick and chunky, leave them thick and chunky. It's totally up to you. Now our meatloaf is done. It does look like a small little meatloaf. It only serves like 4, maybe 6 if you stretch it. But how pretty is it? It just, I don't know. Food that looks pretty just makes me want to eat it that much more. Once you got it all sliced up, now it's time to plate. I am doing a good portion of mashed potatoes because mashed potatoes are a big thing in our house. We love them. And then I'm going to serve this with some gravy over the top. You can't have mashed potatoes without gravy. That's just like a cardinal sin. Now I'm just going to add some corn to my plate. I made this because it's one of my son's favorites, and I feel like we needed more than just mashed potatoes and meatloaf. Now go ahead and add your desired amount of meatloaf, and it is done. This was so good and so simple, but everybody loved it. Everybody cleared their plates. I hope you guys give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so and hit that notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload. And if you love me and will do me a favor, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. See y'all next week.